What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid with episode 12. Here with my guy, Fredson. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. We're recording this on Sunday, a couple hours before the Euro 2020 final. And we just had the Copa America final yesterday. And my God, there's a lot to talk about.
There is. But let's leave the Copa America talk for afterwards. But
Sure.
because today's a big day, it's the Euros finals and high expectations. English fans say it's coming home.
hmm
Italians say it's coming Rome.
hmm
Brooklyn, I said, I'm sure agrees that it's coming to Rome. The scenes there was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Uh, Personally, it's a final. Anything can happen.
Yep.
But the truth is, Harry Kane is going bold lately. So I think England might snatch up a win.
Yeah.
But I can't bet against Chiesa too, or Chiesa.
Hey,
He's been amazing too. So
hey, I mean, but 55 years is 55 years, right? That's how long it's been. And but then you look at the other side of it, and the Italians have been waiting and salivating since they missed the World Cup. And let's reframe that. Let's like
hmm
rewind there for a second. The pits of hell that the Italian supporters were in, Italian players were in for years. It doesn't. I mean, it just is amazing to think that they missed a World Cup, and now just how many years later, they're back. They're in the limelight. They are technically, I mean, you could potentially say off of form, the favorites. And here you go. But yeah, Chiesa is going to have a big part to play. And man, that Italian midfield, I don't know. I mean,
well, it's very interesting to me that when Mancini started his job at in the Italian team,
yeah,
Mancini was left with the worst ranking ever, Italian ranking in FIFA in
yeah,
history, and Mancini now has 33 wins in a row.
it's crazy.
So like the job he did, the group dynamics that Italy have, and
hmm
I'd like to mention this. I'm not gonna say Jorginho is a Ballon d'Or candidate because the quality, I think it's a little bit more for Ballon d'Or. But
Yeah,
Jorginho has been world class.
I mean, yeah,
Okay, Mancini really knows how to use, just like Sari,
yeah,
he knows how to use Jorginho, and I think Mancini deserves a lot of credit because I think he's the best coach in the Euros.
yeah. And
Even if
that,
Southgate wins,
mhm.
even if England wins, I'd give it to Mancini. 33 games without losing.
Yeah.
He's the best coach in the tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the other thing that you gotta remember is where Mancini was coming from too.
Yeah.
Before he took over Italy, and he had a couple spells in between. But Manchester City, I mean, that was not a happy ending. There it was not a happy ending at all. Fights with the board. You can make the argument that he lost the players.
Yeah.
Wasn't getting the full autonomy that he felt he deserved. So is really interesting to see that this is the man that has led the way, and has reshaped it and has put his confidence in. It's a somewhat younger team, except those two center backs that continue to chug along,
It's
Chiellini and Benucci, just unbelievable. So I don't know. This is going to be just from what we came. I mean, let's just reframe this right for 1 second. This Euro 2020 has been worth the wait, right? We
mhm.
all know what we went through. Yes, there was pent up us needing football, but this Euro 2020 has definitely delivered. I mean, you would agree, right?
A lot of drama, a lot
Yeah.
of drama in Euro 2020. I really want to mention you were so right about Denmark.
hmm
Thinking long term, if you'd asked me Denmark would go to the semifinals, I'd say you're mad. So it was the drama, the intensity, the anticipation too. I think everything counted for us to have such an amazing experience.
My God.
On the
I
port,
mean, yeah, of
on the Portuguese side, it's a bit disappointing,
course.
even on the French too.
hmm
But I think it's this happening on in the Euros for Portugal and France will only make the World Cup even
Oh,
more interesting
yeah.
because now France need to prove themselves. Portugal needs to prove himself. And
Yeah.
if it does come home today for the Euros, if England win the Euros, England are one of the top candidates to win the World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the drama, the stories, I totally agree with you, Bretson.
And I'm really interested to see. I mean, if England wins this, what it's like and how they operate with a target on their back at all times. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's always kind of this underdog feeling to the English, and mainly because 1966 was the last time they were in a major final.
Yeah.
But I mean, just it's just going to be amazing, right? And I gotta say, just for kicks, right? Phil Foden said back, I think it was with TalkSport in June, that if they won, everybody on the team would be getting Gaza, Phil Foden haircuts. They apparently all agreed to it. I don't believe it, but if it's a reason to see England win, just for that, please. I mean, can you
So
imagine Harry Maguire with that haircut? Please.
it, so England would become Gaza like in that year, or the real Slim Shady for the American people not knowing.
A little Marshall Mathers never hurt nobody, right?
Yeah, so Phil Foden, that was a good bet to do.
Yeah,
I did wanted to mention before because we're gonna have now the team of the tournament of the
yeah,
Euros. I know it's before the final, but I think we can make a solid judgment on who was the best in the tournament. But before that, I'd like to mention Chiellini and Bonucci.
mhm,
It's interesting how Italy always have a player aging with like fine wine. They
yeah,
had Pirlo. They had, I think, even Di Natale was Di Natale was a FIFA beast, never losing pace, and he was getting older.
yeah,
So Italy is renowned with aging players, and that is very interesting. And it just shows that it's not pace in Serie A. It's
no.
anticipation. It's reading the game, and the center backs and the defenders are so tough. You
Mhm.
need to know. You need to know how to play. You need to know ball.
I mean,
You know.
I'm thinking back to highlights of this tournament and the whole Chiellini, like I think he
Hmm.
intercepted a cross and kicked it out for a corner kick, and he celebrated that as if he had already won the game. Like he was just so passionate, and that's the one thing you see it with the national anthem when they do it. These Italians, doesn't matter if they're 37 or if they're 18, 19, they respect that national anthem, and every time they put on that shirt, they're going to give it absolutely everything. But you're absolutely right, Chiellini, Bonucci. I mean, it's reminiscent of the Luca Tonis of the past, right? I know he was a
Hmm.
striker, but Luca Toni, Andrea Pirlo, playing until he was, upper 30s and doing so at somewhat of a world class level. But absolutely, the Italians have their way, and it's gonna be youth versus mostly experience, right? Jorginho is not exactly 22, and it's just gonna be absolutely amazing. So I gotta
GSA is
ask
young.
though. I gotta ask though. Who do you think is going to actually win? I know technically this is going to be 3 days old by the time we post this, but I have to ask, right?
Yeah.
Who do you think is actually going to do it?
I don't want to say too much because, as I said, a final, anything can happen. But if
Mhm.
England were to win, Harry Kane needs a big game. If and Italy, if they win,
Yeah.
group win.
Yep.
So I really don't know, Breton. I put my bets for Italy, but hey, but England can make it happen too. I'm really 50-50 on this.
Yeah.
But I think we might have a discussion here with who's our team of the tournament.
Yeah.
And right starting at the goalkeeper, I'm going to put Donnarumma.
Okay.
I know here we might have a different decision,
Yeah.
but Donnarumma for me, I know he had Bonucci and Chiellini in front of him, but
Hmm.
there was big saves there.
Hmm.
And no matter what, Donnarumma at 21, at 22 right now, Donnarumma at 22 has 290 caps for AC Milan in Italy. These are insane stats, and I'm betting him right now because I see the quality saves. I see saves that I never would expect a 22-year-old do. So I'm putting the responsibility, and I believe he deserves to be the goalkeeper of the tournament.
And you're not worried about his distribution in the final at all?
Pickford too. I think I was
Oh,
worried
sure.
too about his distribution.
Yeah.
But if it were for that, I think Donnarumma is the better goalkeeper. He
Yeah.
did play really well too. I think Pickford, in terms of form, was at the same level, but I think Donnarumma gets a
Yeah.
little
Not
bit of an
everyone.
edge.
Not everyone needs to be Manuel Neuer, with his feet. Um, All right. Well, yes, we do have a difference here. I went more with my heart, but also, he made some absolutely ridiculous saves, especially in the semis and the quarters. I got to go with Kasper Schmeichel for Denmark. I didn't go Jordan Pickford, even though I know he's probably first in line for the Golden Glove. If not,
Mm-hmm.
they may have already announced that. But Kasper Schmeichel, come on, the story tugs at your heartstrings. He's obviously always been at a very, very high level, and he just stepped it up a notch this tournament, not just from the save perspective, not just from the goalkeeping perspective, but from the leadership perspective. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you or I can fully process what that team has gone through, right,
True.
this last month. I don't think we can ever will be able to. At least I hope I will never have to process something like what they went through.
It's
And
crazy.
for him to pull that team together, I know it's less footballing, and I'm already breaking the rules of a best 11, but Kasper Schmeichel's my pick.
I agree. They've gone through a lot. That team, that Danish team, I completely agree.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say my defenders of
Yep.
of the tournament in Euro 2020. So
Okay.
my best defense is Donnarumma at goalkeeper, left back Spinazzola,
Mm-hmm.
center back Maguire next to Bonucci, and right back Dumfries. Absolutely love this defense. It's
Okay.
very interesting that Dumfries and Spinazzola, before the tournament, weren't given the right recognition, in my opinion. Both are gonna get a move soon.
Yeah.
I can't
Mhm.
see Spinazzola staying too long at Roma, and I can't see Dumfries staying too long at PSV.
Right.
So an unbelievable year. Luke Shaw deserves a mention too,
Oh yeah.
and Mael too.
Yep.
But yeah, those are my defenders of the
But
tournament.
I'll give him one, right? Because I have a soft spot for the Danish team. So, yeah, who would have thought that we'd have this like log jam of phenomenal left backs at this tournament? They've played
Hmm.
crucial roles for a lot of the best teams in this tournament. So, all right, mine from the left. Well, you went from right to left. I'll go from right to left. I'm
Okay.
going to go with Kyle Walker. And he's shown his versatility. He has saved England several times with a catch up speed, and he's actually been somewhat of a menace moving forward. And he's going to be incredibly important. Have a feeling for
Hmm.
them in this final. I got Chiellini and I have Maguire at center back. And
Hmm.
Maguire, he missed his first game. I think Maguire is always unfairly vilified. Well, I shouldn't say unfairly. Sometimes he is fairly vilified, but he has been absolutely vital to their progression in the knockouts. I don't think there's any doubt on that, right? And quick shout out to John Stones too for being relatively pretty damn good actually, right?
Yeah.
But we got to go Chiellini, Maguire there. Chiellini, like we've already talked about, is aging like fine wine, and just his passion. He's the glue of that defense there. And then the left back, even if it's solely for that cross alone, I'm going to go for Joachim Mela. I know we always
Okay.
pause. I think it's Mela, but yeah, Spinazzola. I mean, he might be a reason why the Italians have a little bit of trouble getting through England in this final,
So
right?
quick recap on those four. Could you say the four like in a row?
Yes, I can. We're going Walker, Chiellini, Maguire, and Mela. Okay.
Okay.
All
I
right.
like that midfield. Defense. That defense is good. I think it's solid.
Yeah.
Melee, it's the cross. I love it. I love it too. If we're going on a 4-3-3 tactic,
Yep.
I'm gonna go with three midfields and CDM Jorginho
Okay.
because he deserves all the credit in this tournament. He may not be the best defender or the best attacker, but distribution wise, knowing where to be on the pitch, making things happen.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a facilitator on the pitch for Italy, and Jorginho is my CDM. Next to him, Pedri,
Mm-hmm.
18 years old, but he deserves that because all tournament he's been a menace, one of the best Spanish players in the tournament.
Yeah.
And next to him, I'm gonna put Verratti. Verratti didn't play the first two matches, but Verratti showed why he's world class
Yeah.
in the late stages. Verratti is master class, and Mancini knows why he needs to play him
Yeah.
every single match. So my midfield is Jorginho, Pedri, and Verratti. A little shout out to Renato Sanches because Renato Sanches deserves the mention too.
I mean,
Yeah.
he fared very absolutely very well this whole tournament, and definitely as we talked last week about his stock rising, and I think he's
Mm-hmm.
primed for a big move. But all right, my midfield as well. It doesn't look very different, but for the sake of being different, because I did have Jorginho in there,
Mm-hmm.
I also have I've changed my pick right now to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg.
Okay.
I have Marco Verratti, and I have Pedri.
Okay.
Okay. Now Verratti, come on. In the 300 minutes he's had, he's probably already dropped more key passes, more progressive passes than most of the players in the tournament. The numbers speak for themselves, the stats speak for themselves, but ultimately he's going to be a massive key to whether or not Italy gets by England. Højbjerg, again, in the tug at the heartstrings department, kid just fights for everything. And I do believe that he's going to be a key for any rejuvenation of Tottenham that happens in the coming year. But Jorginho, again, has been phenomenal. So I am
Mm-hmm.
still going to stick with it. Højbjerg, Verratti, Pedri is my best midfield for this tournament.
Solid three picks, and it's crazy how we both have Pedri. I just need to mention it. 18 years old and dominating the scene. Three attackers, so I think it's well. I think for me it was easy. My three attackers have Chiesa at the left.
Mm-hmm.
Up front, Harry Kane, and at the right side, I got Sterling because Sterling was built different in Euro 2020. I don't know what happened, but Sterling wanted to prove himself, and he did. Amazing scenes. Like Sterling now is coming back to Man City thinking, I need a start.
Yeah.
Okay? So I don't know what Guardiola's going to do, but very interesting. Very interesting.
I mean, have we not learned our lesson to stop underestimating Raheem Sterling? I mean, it seems this kind of like common theme with most English players too. It's because of how tough the media is on them. Somebody always has to take the negative along with a positive, and sometimes the negative in media always outweighs the positive. So just so happy for him. So sorry, recap those again for me, those three.
So Chiesa, Harry Kane, and Raheem Sterling is my front trio in the Euro 2020. I like it. I like it.
That's a good one. I'd take that in any team, frankly. But Chiesa, we were a little bit worried we weren't even going to see him at some point in those first couple selections. So I'm so happy that he has made most of his time on the pitch for Italy. So, all right, mine. Here we go. I'm gonna bust this wide open. I guess I have a Scandinavian bias, but I'm not gonna forget what Emil Forsberg has done for Sweden in this tournament. On the left, 4 goals. Basically the sole, the sole creator for a Swedish team. I know Alex Isaac, we like him a lot, but Forsberg was pretty much the only outlet for creativity that Sweden provided. Up top, I am not going to go Harry Kane right now, although this final might, make more sense after this. I'm going to go with Patrick Schick, right? Because as you said in the last episode, if there's one guy that has raised his stock, almost doubled his stock in this tournament, it's him. He also gave us one of the best highlights of the tournament, and relatively consistent. Also, I think hit for a penalty kick, which, as we can talk about. Wait, you didn't put Cristiano Ronaldo. Holy moly.
I didn't.
Wow. That's something to talk about after that. But Patrick Schick, Emil Forsberg, and my last one is in line with you, Raheem Sterling. It's a bit different. It's not, your perennial powers there, but yeah, Forsberg, Schick, Sterling.
I didn't put Cristiano because I give credit going to the finals and winning tournaments.
Fair
and that's
enough.
why I think Ronaldo should have won the Ballon d'Or instead of Modric. But that's a whole different story. But interesting. And I just want to end the Euros talk on this. Chiesa is now next to the best youngsters' names. Because the moment I see Nagelsmann saying, we were interested, but no chance on the price tag, the
Right.
price tag is way too high for Chiesa. And I totally understand that. We've said it in I think I said this one on some podcasts too, like 3 podcasts before, that
Hmm.
Chiesa was gonna be the center of the Juventus rebuild. Allegri's gonna love him, and I can see him being a key player, not just for Italy, but for Juventus too.
Yeah. Love seeing legendary players have legendary sons. He is going to he is going to be massively important for Juventus this coming year. So I have to say one more thing, and I almost feel bad saying this, but how much of a walking oddity is Alvaro Morata? I mean, I don't understand a guy with his technique, a guy with his he has so many world class attributes, right? And when he just stepped up, you knew he was going to miss that penalty. You knew it. He's like he's saddled with these major confidence issues that a guy of his pedigree shouldn't have. And I know I don't want to end on a downer here, but it's just it hurts me to see. And I get it. It takes bold, brave human beings to step up and take a penalty, especially in that type of a moment. But unbelievable,
But
unbelievable.
Morata needs to deliver in those moments. Morata needs to deliver in those moments. I think I'll speak for any Spanish person. They knew. You're right. They had a feeling that Morata could screw it up, but they were hoping he didn't, and he did. He did. That's why Morata's a little bit of a meme, but he's been in the history books for. He's played for Real. He's played for Juventus. He's played for Atletico. So he's got history in football, but that's true. Like, so you want to go for this transfer talk now?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
So let's
Much.
start on the Spanish side.
Yeah.
What's happening at Barcelona? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I don't. A lot of shedding, right? It's like shedding of the skin, I guess, or shedding of the excess. But they've already brought in. They got rid of Junior Firpo,
Mm-hmm.
Todibo, Carlos Elena, Mateus Fernandez, who then slapped him with a wrongful discrimination suit, or not discrimination, wrongful termination suit. They offloaded Trincao, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to continue too because they have to. And that, technically, Messi is a free agent, right? So, and then 4 months ago, we're like forgetting, weren't their offices raided too? Barcelona is at a turning point, and one where you look on the field and you say, "Wow, they still have a future." But so much is probably going to be changing in the next year or two. Am I wrong there?
For me, the biggest problem at Barcelona, even with Laporta being there, is they are getting Depay, Eric Garcia, and Aguero, and exceeding the wage bill,
Yeah,
and they are not realizing this. So I think this is a very bad look for Laporta,
sure.
because now he has a Messi renewal, which it's going to be steep. The Messi renewal is going to be steep, but it's needed for Barcelona. The only attraction that Barcelona have is Lionel Messi. So I don't know. Laporta has such a big mess, and on the Wonderkid side, I
Yeah,
saw that Moriba doesn't want to get his contract extension
right.
because Wijnaldum has come, and I think Moriba understands that means he's gonna have low minutes, and I understand. And Moriba is a very interesting player for an Ajax, a Dortmund, or even a Bayern Munich. I'm
Okay.
putting it out there.
Okay.
So, Ricky Puig, they got Yusuf Demir,
Hmm.
which he's going to start for Barcelona B, and
Hmm.
is understandable. But this is a player that has more than 25 games in the Austrian league,
Yep.
Yusuf Demir. So I think it's a good find for Barcelona. But should they be focusing on that? Sorry on the Wijnaldum thing. He didn't go to Barcelona. He went to PSG.
Right.
But
Yes.
Moriba, I think he knows that Barcelona is a mess now, and yeah, they need to fix it.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt there, but that was I thought it was locked and loaded, thought it was done, and then no.
True.
We'll talk about PSG in a very little bit.
True.
But the Yusuf Demir thing is very interesting to me, right? This is a kid that probably, let's be honest, is probably better off playing another year or two He
Mhm.
wasn't getting full scale minutes, right, in the 11 for Rapid Vienna. Okay. But he still had 8 goals, I think, in 9 starts for them. I mean, he was just really well regarded.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we have to think about this. He picked Barcelona, only Barcelona, and Barcelona B, right?
Mhm.
Because he grew up a Barcelona fan. So that's where I defer with you on this from the Messi perspective, because I'm thinking about it and I'm saying Leo Messi, 34 years old. I mean, you're talking even if he restructures that contract, and he's going to have to, right? Still a whole lot of the wage budget towards him. Is he really the only draw, or is it time to cut bait? Let Leo Messi go, which I don't think will be a killer unless Laporta finds another way to destroy the. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go down that road. But
Mhm.
you have people out there, you have players out there that Messi has essentially molded without actually knowing, because he's a generational. I mean, he's a lifetime,
Mhm.
footballing phenomenon. We're not going to see another one like him for a very
Well,
very long time potentially, but Yusuf Demir wants to go to Barcelona solely because he grew up a fan. And if you can capitalize off of that, you can hopefully rebuild for the future. It's going to be a really
mm,
rocky road, though.
the only
Really rocky.
reason why I think Messi's gonna stay, Breton, and I think Messi's gonna stay, Breton, because Aguero has signed the papers and he's gonna be at Barcelona,
Yeah.
and I think Aguero was a Messi ask.
Yeah.
And money, Messi has a lot of sources of income for sure, and I think even for his image, maybe it's not bad for him to stay at Barcelona.
I don't think
It
you're. I don't think you're wrong there. I think Fabrizio Romano already came out and said it's basically done. The contract's going to be signed. It's just more of a what if scenario. And my guess is he's not signing a 5, 7, 9 year contract, right? He's signing probably 1 or 2 years.
yeah,
And we're going to have this conversation all over again. But as you mentioned, they can't even register their new signings right now.
but
Depay, right?
hmm yeah,
It's
but I'd say that regardless of anything, they need to focus on Pedri. Barcelona needs to focus on Pedri. Even though Messi can leave, I think he'll stay. They need to focus on this chemistry of Pedri with Messi. Even Sergino Dest, maybe. Ronaldo Araújo. Eric Garcia, he's going to be a bet. Memphis Depay. All this chemistry, it's
yeah.
not all of a sudden. So it's going to be a very interesting job for Coleman. But yeah, good.
I,
Let's
I
see
mean, I
the.
just gotta say though, they're selling some of these guys they're offloading. They're selling for pretty big losses. Furpo, I think they brought in for 20, 25 or something, and they sold him for like 13 or 14 to Leeds. Um, I mean, they bought a goalkeeper they've used 14 times for 26 million euros. Like
That's a madness. That's a
it's just
madness.
unbelievable, and they've missed. I'm getting angry about it, and we have to move on. But
Yeah.
I hope, yeah,
Let's
iconic.
continuing on the madness.
Mhm.
PSG. Isn't it a madness to see Sergio Ramos with another kit, not a Real Madrid kit, but a PSG kit?
Yeah.
So we're getting kids in Paris
Yep.
idolizing Rams at PSG.
Yep.
They should. They
Yep.
should.
I'll be honest. It looks good. For some reason, it looks like he's been wearing it for a while. I don't know if it's just because I actually don't know. But I think his arrival from a leadership standpoint, beyond a footballing perspective, takes that quest for a Champions League to a whole nother level, a level
hmm
they likely didn't have previously. So add that to 60 million for Akraf Hakimi. Add that to Wijnaldum. Add that to who else?
Donnarumma.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Donnarumma. Right. This is a full scale assault on the financial fair. No, just kidding. This is going to be a very very interesting experiment, and what a collection of talent there, and only one. Yeah, that leadership can buy.
I
So what do
think
you? I mean, what do you think?
I think the best buy is gonna be Ashraf Hakimi
Okay.
because the biggest problem I think in the Champions League was noticeable was the fullbacks,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure Neymar was going crazy with that because Neymar needs the crosses, needs those passes. going to the middle, and he didn't have it.
Yeah.
So on the defensive side, I'm sure it's very good for Neymar and Mbappe to think. On the back, we're safe. We got Ramos, Donnarumma, and Hakimi.
And in the middle, you have Verratti
And Wijnaldum.
and Wijnaldum.
I think this is the best PSG side I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I think they're just missing I mean, I know Neymar can go up front, and Mbappe can go up front, but
Neymar, Mbappe, Ramos, Donnarumma, Verratti, Marquinhos. This is the best PSG side I've for sure seen in my life. I can't remember.
I know. I mean, is it true that they're also thinking of spending 30-40 million euros on Moise Kean? Or is that already done? Because I did see that kind of circulating around, but that just seems I don't know.
A striker. They need a striker. That would be the frosting on the cupcakes, right?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. With all of these shockingly world-class players in their 11, it actually should open up a couple depth slots for some of the academy players, and that's another thing to talk about in the future. But you might see a guy. Well, I don't even want to go down the road of this because we have so much more to talk about. But I fully expect PSG to dip into their youth academy to kind of fill in the gaps there and give them some chances. But
we could talk about French talents. You know what happened to Crystal Palace? Patrick Vieira, new coach, and Olis. Next season, Zaha, Ezi, and Olis. Skillers, street football, 100%. Like, I'm so excited.
I know. And what a steal. What an absolute steal. 9 million. I'm sure there's some tack-ons there that we're not hearing about. But, like, think about all the other championship buys, these studs from the championship, because Olis was a stud last year.
Yeah.
I believe he had 12 assists. The kid's 19 years old. And he was, I believe, second in the championship. But think about like the Ollie Watkins, right? Emiliano Buendia, Neil Maupay to Brighton back in the day. Okay. Those were all massively like $25 million purchases or 25 million euro purchases. Olis is going for 9 million. The Crystal Palace, to Patrick Vieira, to take under his wing. You add that to Zaha likely sticking around, Eberici Eze, Tyreek Mitchell, who shot, a lot of people don't know much about him, but he is on the come up. Phenomenal tackler for them last year. Just go and you can look at the stats. You can see what he did for them last season. It's going to be a really fun time to watch Crystal Palace. And I know we're going from PSG to CPFC, but it's quite the collection.
It's very good management, in my opinion, because the brand of Crystal Palace is going up, because the internet now, TikTok and all these platforms, they love skills. They love those sound bites, and Zaha will give them, Olis will give them, and Ezi will give them. Yeah. All these three players are certified ballers, and it's a fantastic move, in my opinion.
I agree.
I wanted to talk because here in Portugal, a lot has been happening, especially at Benfica. I don't know if you've seen, but the president of Benfica has been detained by the police, which is, in my opinion, quite crazy.
Yes.
And supposedly the victims are Benfica. So I don't know what to think about this. And Rui Costa, the legend, like he's in such an unfortunate situation now, being the president of Benfica in such a sad time.
It's I was flabbergasted. I don't know if that's the right word by the headline alone. And then I saw a 3 million euro bail. So that means they're pretty damn certain on his allegations there. And we have to obviously make sure we preface that it is an allegation. It is not, he was detained, I believe, not necessarily arrested. I don't know if that's the same thing, but that's what the headline said. But there were, like, his son, I think, was also detained. There was also an agent that was detained.
Brun Massid, the agent.
Oh my. I mean,
the deals were being done, and a lot of eyes were closed, but I think justice is now coming to an unfold.
Yeah.
It's quite sad, in my opinion. Valias Vid did happen a couple of years ago too for Benfica. Bruno Carvalho at Sporting. I a lot of sad things have been happening at the top of clubs here in Portugal, but justice I think is being served. And again, I love Rui Costa, but it's quite unfortunate becoming the president of Benfica with when you're the vice president of the leadership that did this. So let's see. But I know that Benfica are interested in signing João Mario. So I could see it happening, but don't worry, Sporting, because getting Ruben Vinagre, Ricardo Gaio, and maybe Ugarte from Famalicão, you're okay with those signings, in my opinion.
That sound good. Those sound pretty good. Yeah, Wolves, they made permanent Rayon Nori, so that I guess opened up Ruben Vinagre to leave. I don't really understand that because in most of the times that I watched him play for Wolves, I actually thought he had a place, he had a future there. So kind of shocking. I don't know if it was injuries that kind of pushed him down the pecking order. But hey, they're very clearly getting ready or building for the future, or for a future without Nuno Mendes. Correct?
It's true. Sporting must be thinking about a future without Nuno Mendes because Ruben Vinagre is a left back option too, and there's a 10 million really buy obligation I think at the end of the season.
Jeez.
So I think it's a good deal for both clubs in my opinion. Nuno Mendes is destined for greatness, and Ruben Vinagre is a good Champions League player. Because I think what Sporting and Ruben Amorim are thinking right now is we need a solid team for the Champions League. And Jgai too. Jgai is a very good fullback. I remember when I was a kid seeing Jgai as a winger in Sporting Academy, and he was scoring so many goals. And I don't know, his career went big turns, and he went to Braga.
Can you anglicize that for me?
Ricardo Gaio.
Okay. I don't know how to say his last name.
The right back. He's the Braga right back.
Esgaio. Got it.
Gaio. Yeah. It's not a very common name here in Portugal, Ricardo Gaio. Ricardo is, I'm sure you know, the iconic goalkeeper that takes off the gloves, Ricardo. So Ricardo is an iconic name, but Gaio, I've never seen it. But he's a really good right back. Good right back.
All right, so Sporting are they're getting ready to defend their title.
Yes, they are. I wanted to end up the transfers talk with Marcel. Olympique Marcel have been we love youngsters, and they've been betting on the youngsters. Gerson, Sensis Under, Gendozi, Saliba. I'm missing a couple of players, aren't I?
Conrad, Pau Lopez, they just brought in from Roma. It's lone central there, but very clearly, new sporting director is going for it, and not wanting to wait on it. But they have some issues still. They have to figure out Boubacar Kamara, where he fits into this, or whether or not they're moving him on. But yeah, they are bringing in quite the talent. I'm a little worried where Conrad de la Fuente fits in after leaving from Barca. But I have a feeling he's going to get his chances. And this is a kind of you got Lille that is once again selling off their players. You have PSG, which is basically stacking the deck in their favor, and Marseille is trying to keep up with the Joneses. Right? They're basically. It's tough. It's tough, I guess. But League One, once again, doesn't disappoint when it comes to the transfer carousel.
It doesn't. So you want to go to the Copa America talk?
Yeah, there was only one other thing I wanted to say. For the Mexican fans out there, I am very, very interested to see Jose Juan Macias and on loan at Getafe, and I think it's Getafe. I could have gotten that wrong. But also Carles Alenia is there. And Macias, this is one, people wanted to see this move from Liga MX to here, or to La Liga, or wherever, just abroad for him, because he is still, in my opinion, one of the better U23 talents that Mexico has. And he scored goals for Chivas Guadalajara on loan to Club Leon. So I am very much watching that and hoping for the best. I'd be really interested to see or hear what what our Mexican supporters think about this, especially moving forward. So we're watching that with an open eye. The other one we're watching is Filip Stevanovic, got his loan to Eredivisie. He's a Serbian baller, dribbler, takes on anybody, still young as hell. He's on loan from Manchester City. They beat United to him a while back. He's going to Heerenveen. That's another one I highly recommend you watch, because his transition there is going to basically make or break whether or not he ever takes the field for City, right? So that's it. Moving on.
Okay, so I love those mentions. Stepanovic, he was mentioned that he was going to United, but he ended up going to City. So I like that mention.
180.
Copa
Yeah.
America talk.
So
I
much
gotta
fun.
say, Messi, you've got the trophy you always deserved.
Yep.
28 years to get it, Argentina, but Messi, from the failing and trying, the perseverance that Messi showed, I
Yeah.
got to respect it. I got to respect it. And the images with him with the trophy, it's unbelievable to see. But I'd like to have a special mention in the Argentina side for Di Maria. Di
Yeah.
Maria is the Robin that Messi needed in that
Mhm.
tournament. He was so good. De Paul too. But Di Maria, I feel like Di Maria is going to be very overlooked as he is in history. The
Yeah.
Di Maria at Real Madrid, the Di Maria I saw at Benfica when I was a kid. Like, what a player. What
Yeah.
a player.
I mean, he has a history of having these kind of far end of the spectrum showings in really big moments, right? And we always talked about this. If Messi needs a supporting cast in order to win, he was not the best. He was not at his best in the Copa America final at
Mm-hmm.
all, right? And he would be the first to say that. He did manage, 4 goals, 5 assists previous to that to get them there. But ultimately, he needed, like, I think you called him a Robin. You made a Batman reference, right?
Mm-hmm.
He needed somebody. And Di Maria, that pass from DePaul, unbelievable. DePaul also had that moment where he set Messi up, and Messi actually bungled it. He didn't put it away. But yeah, 28 years, Messi seeing the tears of joy, Neymar seeing some tears of heartache, but both of them like hugging afterwards for a really long period of time. To do this at the Maracana in front of all, not a full, I don't think it was a full field. It definitely wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But to beat Brazil on their home soil, their first time losing on home soil, his teammates tossing him in the air. I mean, these are scenes, man. This is amazing.
Uh, I'd like to mention this too. You mentioned Neymar. I think Neymar is starting to feel the pressure to get the Ballon d'Or. He's
Yeah.
29 years old. He signed a long-term contract with PSG, and
Mm-hmm.
now we can see the talk was, "Get me everything you can. I want the Ballon d'Or. I need it. I'm 25, 29. Show me the love."
Yeah.
And I think he's feeling the pressure because he was devastated at the end. I know it's an international trophy and it has a lot of meaning,
Yeah.
but I think Neymar is starting to think, I need the Ballon d'Or or I'm going to be overlooked in history.
Yeah. It almost
Because
it almost feels
people
like
will
he's
say Ronaldinho is better than him. He
right.
needs the Ballon d'Or to be better than Ronaldinho.
Yeah. It almost feels like he's trying too hard when it comes down to it. I mean, I can't think of a more frustrating 90 minutes for such a world class player to watch the amount of times that he literally was just tanked. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just destroyed, like ripped shirt, ripped shorts, ripped shirt, whatever. And then the other times he was flopping all over the place. It was like the boy who cried wolf, right? You couldn't tell when he was actually getting destroyed, and when he was actually going, for a diving goal or something. But he is such a mercurial player that just you felt he was going to get his goal. He didn't get his goal, and I think he's trying too hard. I know it's weird. I'm here I am, backseat fan, right? I have no whatchamacallit. I have no credentials to stand on to even criticize a guy as good at football as he is. But yeah, it feels like he's trying too hard. But that game had everything in it. I mean, you had ridiculous tackles that in other leagues likely would have been red cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had Gonzalo Montiel playing through whatever his saturated ankle in blood. Okay. You had Messi versus Neymar. You had the disappointment of Renan Lodi missing that interception that led to Angel Di Maria's
Yeah.
goal. You had Emiliano Martinez, picking up Leo Messi and holding him in the air at the end of the game, because we have to remember Emiliano Martinez did not have a cap for Argentina until like a month ago.
So true. So true. And he's the best. He's got the golden glove of the tournament, in my
Yes.
opinion. No, this is a fact. And Emiliano Martinez, the trash talk in the penalties. You love to see it.
You do.
Yerry Mina was like looking at him, are we really going through this? And he was like trash talking him so much. And then Messi saying, danzar, danzar. You saw
Yeah.
that. Messi
Yes.
was then provoking the scenes. Like, it was really a big emotional win for Argentina.
Yes, it was.
So do you want to go for the team of the tournament of Copa America?
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to like run through this, but before we do
Mm-hmm.
that, one last quick shout out to Lionel Scaloni, the
Mm-hmm.
manager. This guy's only 43. I don't think people understand how little of a CV he has aside from his career playing. Right? He was an assistant, I believe, somewhere in La Liga, maybe Sevilla, and then he was the assistant for Argentina for a couple years as they were going through a restructuring, and then he was handed the reins. This guy's 43 years old, and he has somehow managed to take all those egos, put them together, and win a Copa America. So I just got to say that. I'm going with a 3-5-2. What are you going with?
I'm going with a 4-3-3.
All right,
That's my traditional tactic. You want me
cool.
to start?
Yeah, go for it.
So at the keeper spot, I think the best keeper in the Copa America, it's locked in, Emiliano Martinez.
I agree.
Left back, Vinha. I absolutely love him. He's very exciting talent with the Belfred at Palmeiras.
Mm-hmm.
Then my two center backs, the best center backs in my opinion, the Copa America, was Otamendi and Marquinhos.
Okay.
Otamendi he's the heart of that defense. The
Yep.
tackles he does, the moments, the voice. Like, I love him on the pitch. Otamendi he really stepped up in
Yes.
the Copa America for Argentina.
Yes, he did.
And at right back, I know he's a right wing back. It's Cuadrado.
Okay.
I love Cuadrado. So it's Emiliano Martinez, Vinha, Marquinhos, Otamendi, and Cuadrado.
Like it. All right.
That's my defense of Copa America.
Okay, well, there's a little bit of an overlap there, or a whole lot of overlap. I'm only going with three center backs here. So we've got Otamendi, who, yeah, I agree with you. Time at Benfica or time at Manchester City, he's generally ridiculed a lot more than he's praised, right?
Hmm.
So it was pretty amazing to see him step up as much as he did. But you also have to have Marquinhos for Brazil because of just, hey, Brazil basically walked through the group stages. We're forgetting that they also basically
Hmm.
walked through the knockout rounds, and then they ran into Argentina. Uh, but my other defense is actually more of kind of like a future play. A center defense is going to be Christian Romero.
Okay.
He didn't get to play as much as I would have liked. I mean, I could have picked Thiago Silva here. He was phenomenal as well. But Cuti Romero played when and delivered in the final as best as he most possibly could, coming off of an injury. Perseverance, man. I like that stuff. As you can see, sometimes it's not always about the
Hmm.
footballing for me. So Cuti Romero, Otamendi, and Marquinhos are my center backs in a 3-5-2.
Okay. So I'm gonna go for my midfield here. My
Mm-hmm.
best midfield in Copa America, it's De Paul,
I like it.
Casemiro, and Fred.
Okay.
I like, and Barrios is a special mention I want to do, but I'm gonna go Fred, Casemiro, and De Paul. De
Okay.
Paul, I understand why Atletico Madrid got the deal done soon, because De Paul is a stud, one of the best underrated players in the world. He's the
Yeah.
most underrated, one of the most underrated players in the world, in my opinion. Watch out.
I agree. I absolutely agree, and that's why I got him in there. But can you say that one more time?
So Casemiro, Fred, De Paul,
All
De
right.
Paul.
All
That's
right. The
the
only
best
yeah, the
midfield
only
in Copa America.
the only difference I have there is I actually do sub in Wilmar Barrios.
Okay.
Because I think he's unknown. He really is unknown, even though I think he led the tournament in tackles one, in pressures one. He was all over the place. He was kind of like their unsung hero, Colombia. So I really, really enjoy, and I think it's mainly because he plays for Zenit, and we don't see him on a regular basis that people kind of forget 27. He's going to play a big part for them if they qualify for the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
DePaul, who I was just electric in the final, in a game that was fraught with ridiculous tackles and all over the place, energy everywhere. DePaul managed to deliver 2 phenomenal passes, and beyond, what else he was able to do. And Casemiro, for sure. The whole tournament, he's just so consistent, and little shock they didn't get it done on home soil. But that's kind of my middle. And then I'll just treat, when we go to the forwards, I'll add my wing / left and right mid to it.
My forwards, I'll keep it simple. I put Neymar, Messi, and Luis Diaz.
Okay.
I think Luis Diaz performed so well in Copa America, and I'm not surprised if FC Porto are gonna get some offers there, because I think Porto is a really good club exploring the South America market. They got James Rodriguez, Falcão in the past.
Yeah.
Danilo, Alexandro, Otamendi. Even before he went big. He went to Porto. So Luis Diaz is another player that he's showing why he's so good. He's fantastic. So my best front three in Copa America is Luis Diaz, Messi, and Neymar.
Okay, I like it. I mean, hey, I think we're going to have a little overlap here, but I obviously have 2 to add to Messi and Neymar, technically left mid and right mid. But we've basically already said them. We have a very similar 11. Across at left mid, we're going to go with Luis Diaz as well. And that's one, I had a question for you. Why doesn't he start all the time for Porto? Because, man, that was a player that led Colombia. Okay, he was up there in almost every stat category with Messi and Neymar, right? Whether it's dribbles, 1, goals, he had 4 goals, scored the last minute winner in the 3rd place game. I mean, he was everywhere for them, and he just looked the part. And I was just I'm surprised that he's not a locked-in starter at Porto. Could be a possible transfer move coming. Who knows? Or maybe Porto actually elevates him the way they might have to or want to. But beyond that, you have Messi and you have Neymar up top. Over at right mid, I'm going to go putting him as a mid instead of a right wing back. Cuadrado as well. And he's another one. Okay, maybe it's aged coffee doesn't taste good, right? But this Cuadrado is coming off a pretty damn good campaign with Juventus, no?
Yes.
And he's shown his versatility. He's shown his ability to really just calm things down and just be a menace when he needs to be on that right wing. And he was that this whole tournament for Colombia, was the leader, was their captain. So Cuadrado makes a whole lot of sense. So yeah, left mid Diaz, up top Messi and Neymar, on the right you have Cuadrado. And we're done.
Team. That's a good team.
Well, and I have a question. Who do you think would win? Europe or South America?
Europe. 100% Europe.
Okay.
In my opinion, 100% Europe. We got a strong English team. We got a strong France team. We got a strong, not very strong German team, but a strong Portuguese team.
Yeah.
Spain team is underrated. Scandinavian teams are getting better by the year. So we got a staggering talent growing. But South America too, looking good.
Yeah, but I'm looking at these best 11s, right? I'm looking at these best 11s, and yeah, okay, on paper, like Turkey in the Euros, right? On paper, it might look good, right? But come on, Cuadrado, Luis Diaz, Messi, Neymar going up against Harry Maguire, going up against who else?
Maguire.
Yeah.
No.
No. What I'm talking about is our Euro pick, our Euro 11, and our Copa America 11.
Oh, sorry. I thought you mentioned the best European 11.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's no fun. That's no fun. Yeah, it's basically England, Denmark. Yeah. Anyway, just some thought there, because I looked at it and I'm like, wow, these are big name players, except for maybe Wilmar Barrios, but big name players stepping it up.
Yeah, there is some big name players, but I can see you have a need to talk about the outside. So we got 10 minutes left, and our last topic, it's the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
So me, as a European watching the Gold Cup, I have a question. Why do I see the Mexico team with all these names, Corona, Herrera, Lozano, which got injured, unfortunately, and I see the U.S. team without Gio Reyna, without Pulisic? Why? Could you explain to me?
Yeah, so there's the advent of a new. You guys know this because the UEFA Nations League is now a thing.
Hmm.
The CONCACAF Nations League boiled down earlier this summer, or not this summer, like in May, to or June, to Mexico and the USA, and that was very much seen as the clash of A teams, right?
Mm.
Um, Greg Berhalter, who was the coach of the U.S. men's national team, basically came out even before that saying any of those guys that are playing in the CONCACAF Nations League final, they are not going to partake at all in the Gold Cup. And we bungled the whole qualification thing for the Olympics, so we're not taking part in that either. So he wanted them to be in the best position because the average age is 23 of that team. They wanted them to be in the best position to hit the ground running for their club teams or get moves, as we've seen with Conrad, or we've seen, Gio Reyna taking the 7 at Borussia Dortmund. Pulisic getting healthy and refreshed for the new season with Chelsea. So, yeah, Mexico is very much, they want to win this. They want to win this. They expect to win this. And frankly, they should win this. They're the favorites.
But
Um,
don't you think the U.S. should go with a winning mentality to this tournament?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot. There was some talk about that, but the Gold Cup for years has been. I'm not going to say it's not quite the same reputationally. That's not a word. I just made that up. I
Hmm.
don't think it's one of those things you can add an ly to anything. It comes down to the fact that you're still going to be playing the Martiniques and the Guadelupes and
Yeah.
the Leon Bailey at Jamaica. That's going to be awesome to see. But when it comes down to it, it's not going to have the same pizzazz ever of.
But like, I'm gonna be devil's advocate here.
Mhm.
Kate Cowell and Caden Clark weren't called up to this team. Why is
No.
that?
Yeah. Greg Berhalter, a lot of it is reps. A lot of it is, do we think Cade Cal is going to actually play? And if we're not taking this at the top of the table in terms of our priorities, it's probably better off for Cade Cal to stick around at San Jose Earthquakes and get those reps in, because Daryl DK is likely going to eat up all the reps
Mm-hmm.
for the U.S. men's national team. So there was a lot of juggling here. I don't think there were many missteps on the roster. But what it comes down to is you're going to have guys like Gianluca Busio, who is going to be showcased either at the 6, at the 8, or at the 10. I don't know, because he's so damn versatile now. He's
Mm-hmm.
on the verge of likely a Serie A move. We don't know where just yet, but there's been talk of Venice, or other, newly promoted teams, or Fiorentina was another one that was thrown out there. But you're going to have them up against the Tecatitos, up against Guarnado's not there. Uh, Chucky
It's an
Lozano.
Alvarez.
Yeah, yeah, Efrain Alvarez. So this Gold Cup's already been kind of ripe with controversy. Curacao was just booted out because of a COVID outbreak. Guatemala comes in, but really, if it comes down to it, they want Mexico USA in the final. Canada is not going to have Alfonso Davies. He
I
just,
know. Oh.
it's tough. So Jonathan David's not there because they want him to get ready for the new year. So like, not everybody's bringing a full squad.
That
So,
was a huge miss for Canada. Alfonso Davis. Like,
yeah,
if you don't have Alfonso Davis, you're not gonna win the tournament, Canada. It's as simple as
probably
that.
not. Probably not. But three guys that you definitely have to watch. Well, four now after that really, really tough Chucky Lozano. Actually, it's really sickening to watch, so I don't recommend that you look it
Mm.
up. But big head injury. Luckily, it seems like he's okay. At least we hope, Chucky, that you are 100% okay. It's opened up an opportunity for LA Galaxy, Efrain Alvarez, LA born. He was a USA Mexico dual national, picked
Mm-hmm.
Mexico. Now cap tied. He came on for Chucky in yesterday's match opener versus Trinidad. Matthew Hoppe, Schalke, scored a bunch of goals in the Bundesliga, kind of disappeared as Schalke went down to the basements of whatever death and despair. Schalke was just horrendous in the Bundesliga late on in that season. Matthew Hoppe is going to be one to watch. Daryl DK is definitely going to be one to watch. He's
I
probably
have
going to
one.
be.
I have one I'd like to add there, and you know more than me, but I saw him at Boavista, and it's Reggie Cannon.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
he's locked in that right back position, isn't he?
Yes.
Though the four mentions I was gonna do, Buzio.
Mhm.
Buzio is He's amazing. Like one of the best midfielders. He's going to be in that competition for sure. Daryl DK. We were talking previously about this. I think the Premier League move is going to happen. He was so good in the Championship, so I expect Daryl DK to stay in England. The last player, you say Matthew is Hope? Sorry,
Hoppy. Hoppy.
Hoppy. Okay, Matthew Hoppy. He's amazing. I saw some games highlights. Sorry, at Schalke, and I found a very interesting player. So I think it's the U.S. man national team. Who would say that they would have so much talent with a B team?
Yeah, it's
Like
if you
that.
asked me that 2 years ago, I would have said hell no, Alex, hell no. But it's
But
going to be fun.
who'd you rate the most out of these players? Like, and you said too. Is this official? Gio Reyna is the number 7 of Dortmund.
There were some images that came out that showed him wearing Dortmund shorts with a 7. So unless Sancho gave him his shorts, I don't. I think he might be. I think
That's
he might be.
big.
But there's no confirmation on that just yet.
But that's
Um,
big. That's
it is big.
big. And I'd say if this is a full-fledged U.S. team, I think they beat Mexico.
Yeah.
I think Mexico is dipping by the year. Personally, that's what I notice because the best player is Lozano. I remember a time when Vela was being considered a world-class talent, and I'm
Yeah.
not getting a feeling of Mexico having this world-class talent in the future.
And that's a great point, and one that I think is going to have to be addressed. And it doesn't seem like it's being fully addressed by the Mexican Federation. I mean, they have a phenomenal coach in Tata Martino. And you actually, if you think about it, some of their oldest players uh, they're getting up there. They're getting up there,
True.
and they need to be replaced or they need to be cycled through. And yeah, Diego Lainez not necessarily playing all the time for Betis. Chucky Lozano had a good year for Napoli, but it's going to be really interesting to see how they / get younger while the United States matures, right?
I remember being 12 and seeing Jonathan Duchamp and Giovanni Duchamp being like the 2 biggest names of Mexico
Yes.
and being all hyped up about them. And Chicharito, in that World Cup. There were good times.
Well,
We got 2 minutes left here. I wanted to sign out by saying thank you to everyone who's listening to episode 12. The support on TikTok. Now we got 200K followers on TikTok. That's crazy.
it is
And
crazy.
2K estimated audience on Spotify. And it's just amazing to know that we got such a huge audience and growing, and it's the best community. It's the best community. I'm so proud of it.
Yeah.
It's,
And you have every right to be, Alex. And I know, we both are, but Alex does a lot of the heavy lifting around here. So we try to get to you. Please keep talking to us. Give us good constructive criticism. We enjoy it. We're learning. We're not, the most technological savvy. Alex, you are. I'm not. But we're going to only get better at this. But really what it comes down to is if we can continue to talk about football with you, we're fine.
That's it. We only want to talk football. Thank you guys. Put in the comment section below what you want to see in the future because we want to know what you're thinking. And peace out.
Peace out.